Hey everyone, and welcome to the QuickBooks Online ASBDC Train the Trainer webinar. My name is Stacy Kildall, and I am the writer and presenter of this webinar, and I'm also a writer of a lot of the QuickBooks Online training material that Intuit has for the US, Canada, Singapore, Australian, and UK editions of the software. I'm one of the first Pro Advisors to get QBO certified. I'm an advanced QuickBooks Pro Advisor, and I have been teaching QuickBooks and QuickBooks Online to end users, other accountants, other consultants for probably about 8 years now, almost as long as I've been in practice. And my practice is a full-service bookkeeping, payroll, and QuickBooks consulting company in White Lake, Michigan called Kildall Services, LLC. I'm also a member of Intuit's Trainer and Writer Network, which is why I am presenting and doing this webinar for you guys. I'm also co-host and co-founder of Radio Free QuickBooks, and Radio Free QuickBooks is a 90 minutes online radio show / podcast every Wednesday from 7:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, although you can listen to the archives at any time you'd like. And we really talk about our audience's accounting professionals as well as small business owners, and what we talk about are best practices, how-tos in QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online, and also just small business and accounting professionals in general. And we also have a lot of guests when we talk about fraud prevention and tax compliance and things like that. So please join us. Our course objectives for this webinar: after this webinar, you should be able to define the benefits that are realized by using QuickBooks Online. You should be able to navigate pretty efficiently within QuickBooks Online, as well as identifying some differences between the desktop edition as well as QuickBooks Online, so that when your clients or small business owners do come to you, you can send them in the right direction, and understand what types of businesses are currently using QuickBooks Online. And one of the reasons that we decided to do this is because there is a lot of questions about what the cloud is. And I see a lot of accounting professionals and a lot of small business owners coming and they hear that buzzword, the cloud, and they really don't understand what that term means. And what it means, it's the same thing as the internet. The cloud, the internet, being online, they're all pretty synonymous. And what it is it's software or data, or both, that is housed securely in data centers as opposed to on a local server or your local computer hard drive. This data is accessible via the internet very securely. And I think this data access and the ability to share the access is really key to efficient workflow. So the small business owners can have real-time collaboration with their employees, with their contractors, with their accounting professionals, even with their customers and clients. And the adoption is really gaining momentum. A couple years ago, we were getting a little bit of pushback. Not everybody wanted to kind of move online. And in the last 2 years, I've had so many people, inquire as to how to get started. My big mantra for the last 3 or 4 years has been, you need to get online or you're going to get left behind. And I think that is true regardless of the industry that you're in. You can see here, these are some of Intuit's percentages, some of the numbers that they have about the increase in QuickBooks Online users. What I think is really interesting is since 2012, recently Intuit, one of the numbers that they gave me was that for the people that have never, the companies, the small businesses who have never used any version of QuickBooks at all, more than 50% of them are choosing to go with QuickBooks Online. So it really is being adopted very quickly. And I think what is going to become, especially in 2014, an exponential rate. And kind of hand in hand with what the cloud is and the adoption rate is the evolution of software. When a few years ago, we used to go to Office Max or Home Depot or Best Buy or whatever it was, and we would buy the software, get the box home, put the disk in, and install it. I can tell you right now, it's been probably 3, almost 4 years since I've actually purchased software and had to use a disk to install it. And it's been at least 2 years since I actually have used QuickBooks locally. I don't usually use it. We use a hosted software. So these days we're generally downloading our software, and a lot of times we're actually hosting them. So hosted software is you still own the software, but instead of installing it on your local server or your local hard drive, you're actually installing it on a remote server that is always available. So you really don't have to worry about whether or not your hard drive dies. For instance, I have some of my QuickBooks clients that are hosted. They're using Premier or QuickBooks Enterprise solutions, and they're hosted. We have them in a hosted environment. So if my hard drive ever dies, or their hard drive, or their computers get stolen, or whatever, some sort of catastrophic event happens, where normally if they were installing that software to their local hard drive, they would be in a world of hurt if something happened to that. But with a hosted environment, really all they need to do is get a new computer or find an internet connection and log into their hosting environment. The other option too, and this is really what I think is growing more and more, I would say about roughly 90% of my clients are on QBO, and I just have a few that are hosted, is software as a service. And a lot of us are already using it, whether you're logging into your bank or your credit card account to take a look at the balances and pay bills and make payments. Microsoft Office 365, Gmail, Google Calendar, Salesforce. These are all software as a service, or what is referred to as SaaS options, like QuickBooks Online, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Some of the benefits of using QuickBooks Online, I think, are the continuous software updates. QuickBooks Desktop gets released once a year, and then there are periodic updates or new releases. You'll see R3, R4 that are periodically released to the users. But with QuickBooks Online, every 4 to 6 weeks they're updating the software, and as long as the features are included in the level of subscription, and we'll talk about those later in this webinar, that means you have the latest version. You always have the latest updates, and everybody is using the same version, so there's no worrying about, oh, this client this person has QuickBooks 2013 and this person has 2012, and having those, those different versions. We don't really have to worry about that. The anytime, anywhere access, a lot of times when we're trying to help our clients and we're trying to really get our small business acquaintances, associates up and running and give them some help, we actually have to share their computer. We have to wait for them to get done. With QBO, there's no jockeying for time or position on the client computer. You just need an internet connection and a web browser. There's no file transfer, so a lot of times we use accountant's copies, and we use backups, we use portable copies to help the clients get set up, help these small businesses get set up, and do support, and we no longer have to worry about that because, again, the client, the small business owner can be working in it, the accountant, the CPA, the bookkeeper, the employees, they can all be accessing it at the same time. There's no worrying about file transfer. And the backup, a lot of small business owners don't know that they need to back up their desktop data files, and so we don't really have to worry about that. Intuit has, off-site backups. They have the remote servers. It's really an amazing solution, and we don't have to worry about that. Again, something happens to the local computer or the local hard drive, really all they need to do is get a new computer and an internet browser, and they're up and running. So now we get to talk about one of my very favorite things, is some of the differences, some of the things that I think that QuickBooks Online does better than QuickBooks Desktop. These are some of my favorite features about QuickBooks Online, and we included this in Train the Trainer so that you can really talk to the small business owners when they ask you what are the differences, or maybe why I should go QBO over Desktop. These are some of the really great answers as to why they would want to choose QBO versus a Desktop edition. And the first one is the invoice and the sales receipt automation, so as well as the delayed customer charges and billing. So how this could work is, for me personally, when I have a new bookkeeping client come on, I have them sign their the scope of work, we sign the engagement letter, they sign a credit card authorization, I enter in a sales receipt, and they get charged a monthly fee. at the beginning of every month their credit card. This also works when I'm doing project billing. We sign the engagement letter, and then we sign the credit card authorization, and then me and my staff enter in our time and apply it to that that client. And every week or every other week, or however often we have determined with that client when we're working on that project, QuickBooks Online will take that time that has been marked as billable to the client, and it will automatically create a sales receipt or an invoice and send it along and bill the client for that. So there's really two ways to do this. You can set that up for recurring transactions anytime you have any sort of subscription or monthly billing for a small business. It's a really great tool. You can also have it set up for anytime you're entering time or billable expenses, billable time or billable expenses. You can set QuickBooks Online to automatically create those invoices. So we won't have a lot of that unbilled costs, and things won't forget to be invoiced when we're dealing with QuickBooks Online. When we're dealing with desktop, really you still have to go in and generate those invoices. You can apply the time and the expenses as billable, but you still have to manually go in and create the invoice or the sales receipt and add those time and expenses to those transactions. So this is just one of my very favorite things about QBO, and I personally have been using this for years and years with my bookkeeping clients. The activity log. So with desktop, what we have is an audit trail, and with the audit trail, we're really limited as to what we can see. We can see when a transaction was created, when it was modified or deleted. What we can't see is when a client has or a user has signed on, has signed off, has opened or closed the account. We can't see when a user changes a vendor name or a phone number. So we can see all this. We can't really see with the audit trail in desktop when a third-party application has done some synchronization with the software. With the activity log in QBO, we can see all of this. It's a great tool when you're doing, if you have to do cleanup for your client. It's a great tool for the small business owner to monitor what their employees are doing. You can see when any third-party software has imported transactions into QuickBooks Online. You can even see when the bank feed has pulled transactions in. So to give an example of how useful this is, over the last 10 years of using QuickBooks Online with my small business owners, I have caught fraud 3 times using the audit trail. It was the same situation each time, 3 different clients over the course of 10 years, where a user logged in, they changed the name of a vendor to themselves, printed the check, and then changed the vendor name back to the original vendor. So they changed, AT&T to, Jane Doe, and then they changed it back to AT&T after the check was printed. This is something that we wouldn't have seen in QuickBooks Desktop, and because of just the way a lot of small businesses work, many small business owners very rarely open their checks. Their office managers are usually the ones who are cutting the checks, they're entering the bills, they're opening the checking, the bank statements, and they're doing the bank reconciliation. And so a lot of times this is not going to get caught. The one that's perpetrating the fraud many times is the one that has the control over the reconciliations. And so this is a way, and I understand that's just how it works with small businesses, because they don't have the ability to have a staff to do all of the different things and separate those duties like we would really ideally like them to do. But what the activity log does, it allows the small business owner to monitor what's happening with their account. For us as consultants, we can go in and we can do what we need to do, and then we can give that record, we can keep a record of that for ourselves, and we can show our clients exactly what we did with it. So it's a really great tool. I love the activity log, and we still have that audit trail in QBO as well. So it will show you if a transaction was changed, what happened, what it was before, and then what the change was. So love the activity log. It's a really great tool to use for a lot of different things. We have automatic email reporting. This is really nice if you have a small business owner that comes to you and you help them set up their QuickBooks. What you can do is you can say, look, what kind of reports are you interested? What is it about your business that is most important to you? And so maybe they want to have a profit and loss. Maybe they need a P&L. Maybe they need an open AR. Maybe they need an open invoice report. And they want it sent to them every week. You can memorize, you can customize whatever report it is. You can memorize that and then add it to a group, an email group. And then what you can do with that email group is that you can have it scheduled so that it's automatically sent to your client on a weekly basis or a daily basis, whatever it is that they're looking for. For you as consultants, for you as SBDC consultants, what you can do is maybe you are going to do a quarterly checkup. You can have reports sent to you on a quarterly basis, and that once you get that report, that kind of might be a trigger for you to contact that client. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use this automatic email reporting as well. I think this is really, really cool tool. We can customize and memorize the reports in desktop, but we still have to actually go into the product, open up the report, and then email it. Either save it as a PDF and manually attach it or email it directly through QuickBooks Desktop Editions. But with QBO, we can actually just memorize the report and then customize the email schedule so that it's sent automatically. The bank transactions. I think QuickBooks Online does a better job just in general of dealing with bank feeds when we are importing transactions into our QuickBooks, into the bank and the credit card registers. You can see here we have a few that are on the screen there, and this does this every night. So for us as consultants, a lot of times we still have to have the bank credentials or the credit card, the financial institution credentials to download the transactions and get that process going. But with QuickBooks Online, the client, the small business owner, can actually go in, make the connection, and then QuickBooks Online automatically goes in every night and pulls the transactions in. So it makes it a lot easier for us as consultants to help our clients manage and do some after-the-fact bookkeeping. And it also helps our clients keep their bank reconciliation and their credit card balances up to date as well. So very, very easy to deal with the bank feed in QBO. We have unlimited report reader and time tracker only users. And so if you have a client or a small business who is using QuickBooks Online Plus, what we can do is you have the 5 users, and we'll get into the specifics about the users that are included with the subscriptions in a few minutes. But what's really cool is, let's say you have a client who, a great example is I have a nonprofit and they have an elected board. And so the board members a lot of times will ask for variations of the standard reports that we do for them every month. And so rather than having to continually pull these reports for them, what we ended up doing was converting them to QuickBooks Online and making each one of them a report-only user. And so what we can do with a report-only user is that user can go in and they can pull whatever reports are available in QuickBooks Online. They can't edit transactions, they can't view transactions, all they can do is look at reports. I have one client who there's 3 partners in the firm, and when we were setting them up, the first thing they did was they pointed at the one partner and they said, can we make it so that he can't do anything because he will screw everything up. So the 2 other partners have access, they have admin access, and so they can go in and edit and make changes and do what they need to do to their accounting system. But the one partner, and he even said, if I touch it, I'll mess it up. So, but he can go in and he can look at reports as needed. There's time tracking only. If your small business owners have vendors, maybe they have contractors that need to enter some time, or they have employees that need to enter time, you can go in and you can set up a time tracking only user, and all they can do is go in and fill out and change his or her own timesheets, nobody else's timesheets. And these 2, the report only and the time tracking only users, they don't count towards the users that are included in the subscription that you're paying for, your client is paying for. QuickBooks Online has class and location tracking. In desktop, we have class tracking, and so we will use that for different departments or different locations. And with QuickBooks Online, we have location tracking, which gives another level of, just another layer of tracking. A really good example is, I have auto shop. I have an auto shop here that's a client, and he has locations. He has shops in 2 different cities. So what we do is we use QBO, and we have his location tracking to track each one of his shop locations in each city. And then we use class tracking to actually track the contracts, the government contracts. He has contracts with the local school district, the local police departments, the township, and the county governments, as versus his walk-in work. So he can kind of see which is a little bit more profitable, and where he kind of wants to focus. So we can track that, and we can pull separate reports for each class as well as each location. We have multiple budgets per fiscal year and categories. With desktop, you can only have one budget. So for 2014, you would only be able to do one budget. With QBO, you can have multiple budgets. So you can say, I need to have one budget for this location. I want to do another budget for our second location. I can do different budgets for different classes, as well as customers. And so with QuickBooks Online, we actually use the multiple budgeting feature, and we subdivide the budgets by customers so that we can do some job costing. And with that, we can enter in the budget for that customer or that job, and then we can actually pull a budget versus actual so we can see where we are. The comparative report in desktop would be an estimates versus actual. So I really love multiple budgets per fiscal year because you can really kind of play with the numbers and see what's going on. And for accounting professionals, this is sort of a big deal. When a lot of times we have to go in and we have to make adjustments for our clients and for our small businesses. And a lot of times if you have many adjustments that you need to make to AR to clean up a file or to do some year-end work, we have to have, you have 10 accounts receivable adjustments. You have to enter 10 different journal entries in QuickBooks Desktop. With QBO, you enter one journal entry, and you can have all 10 of those AR lines in that journal entry. So this is sort of a big deal for accounting professionals. We don't have to worry about making multiple adjusting entries when we're dealing with QBO over desktop, because we have that ability to have the multiple AR and AP. And you can also have an accounts receivable and accounts payable, as many as you want. It's a really great tool. I like it a lot. So now we're going to talk about what businesses are using QuickBooks Online. For me, I would love to be able to say that every business is a perfect fit for QuickBooks Online. But unfortunately, I even have to admit defeat on that. Obviously, you're going to have large multinational companies are probably not going to be a good fit for QuickBooks Online. But I think really you have to take a look at specific features, what the features are that they need, and if QBO in and of itself doesn't have every single feature that they need, we have the App Center. So we have what's called the QuickBooks Online ecosystem, and there's a webinar, you might want to check that one out as well for the ASBDC that we're doing, that will kind of explain what that is. And these are add-ons that work, that can add functionality and features to QuickBooks Online. So I really think that almost any business can use QuickBooks Online. Some of the ones that I'm going to put a stop and say, you know what, QBO is not going to be a good fit if they are a small business and they have more than 2 or 3 EINs. I have one client who has 12 different business entities. So QuickBooks Online really isn't going to be a great fit for them because each EIN, each tax ID number really does need its own QuickBooks Online subscription. So we have him hosted. That's probably going to be one of the first and foremost where I'm going to say, you know what, no, that's definitely not going to probably be the best fit. Although they can still do that, they're just going to have to pay for that subscription. But I think cost-wise, it's a little more effective to go with a hosting environment. Another one just off the top of my head is if the small business has very specific customization that they need to do for their templates. So if they need their invoices, their sales receipts, purchase orders, the templates that they're using for the transactions in QuickBooks are really specific, I think that QBO probably is not going to be the best fit, although there are some add-ons that will add that functionality. I think if they have something very, very detailed and they're already using QuickBooks Desktop, they're probably going to want to go hosted if they need an online solution. So now we get to talk about choosing the right version of QuickBooks Online, and we have 3 options. I'm a big fan of choices. I think choices are always a great thing. We have Simple Start, we have Essentials, and we have QuickBooks Online Plus. And the first one that we're going to talk about is QuickBooks Online Simple Start. This is the basic subscription level. These are for small businesses, for clients who are just getting started or they have really basic accounting needs. I have 2 different businesses, and one of them we use Simple Start because we only send out 2 or 3 transactions, invoices, or sales receipts every month, and we only really have maybe between 10 and 20 transactions expense-wise going out, and we really only need one person to access it. So it works really well for us. You can import your customer, your vendor, your chart of accounts, so you can import your list data from Excel into Simple Start. You cannot convert a desktop version to QuickBooks Online Simple Start. It will enable you to create and manage those invoices, so they can create an invoice, they can receive the payment, but you do not have the ability to enter a bill, pay bill. You can enter checks and credit card transactions, but there's no payables functionality in QuickBooks Online Simple Start. You get about 20 different canned reports. Many of these can be customized and memorized to give you more than the 20, but those are the 20 business reports are the ones that are the default or the standard reports that are available in QuickBooks Online Simple Start. You get 1 user with this, as well as 2 accountant users. So every version of QuickBooks Online has the ability to add 2 accountant users. This is great for me because I'm a bookkeeper, so for my clients we have me as the bookkeeper and then their CPA or their EA as the other accountant user, so they can do some, throughout the year they can do some quarterly or mid-year tax planning, and at the end of the year they can do the tax returns and enter in the adjustments. All the while the client is using the 1 user and I'm using the other accountant user, and we're all working in it together. This is about $12.95 a month. However, if you are a member of the Pro Advisor program, the QuickBooks Pro Advisor program, you can extend the Pro Advisor discount. And depending on the level of Pro Advisor that you are, this discount ranges from 20 to 35%. The next step up is QuickBooks Online Essentials. This is for clients who are small businesses who are kind of already up and running or possibly need some additional features. They may be a brand new startup, but they might need to have that full accounts payable function. Or they may have to have more than the 1 user that's available with Simple Start. So with QuickBooks Online Essentials, you get about 40 different reports. Again, you can customize these and then memorize them so that you have more than 40. You get the 3 users, again the 2 accountant users as well. You have the automated invoices and the invoicing as well as the delayed billing. There's an amazing tool that we have. If you go to radiofreeqb.com and go to the tips link, we have a product comparison that really is a great tool if you're trying to determine which version of QuickBooks, whether it's desktop or online, that a small business needs. Essentials has a few more features, but these are the main ones. You get all the same features that are in Simple Start. And this starts at about $26.95 a month. And again, you can extend that ProAdvisor discount if you are a member of the ProAdvisor program. The highest level of subscription is QuickBooks Online Plus. These are for small businesses who have the need to, they need that class and location tracking. They maybe have some inventory, they need quantity on hand. They really do need budgeting. They want to be able to prepare and print their own 1099s. They need, more than the 3 users. You get 5 users with the subscription plus the 2 accountant users. But with QuickBooks Online Plus, you can also do the unlimited report only and time tracker users as well. Plus, this is scalable. You can add more than 5 users. You're just going to pay a fee for anything more than the 5 users. So every user above the 5 that are included with the subscription, the base subscription, you will pay a fee for. And this starts at $39.95 a month. Again, you have that ProAdvisor discount that you can extend. One thing that I want to mention is that payroll is available as an add-on to each one of the 3 subscription levels for an additional fee per month. So now we're going to go do some demo, and I'm going to hop out of my PowerPoint and head over to my internet browser. You'll note that I'll be using QuickBooks to access QBO, to access QuickBooks Online. I am using Google Chrome. It is the recommended browser to access QuickBooks Online, but the login to QuickBooks Online is going to be qbo.intuit.com, and I'm going to head over there right now. So here I am at qbo.intuit.com, and I'm just going to enter in my username and my password. If you'll set your Intuit ID up, there's a one login now for any Intuit account. You can use the same username and password to access any. You can see this is our demo account. We've used this quite a few times. I'm going to go ahead and choose my Larry's account, which is my demo account. So the first thing that you're going to notice is that this is our home page, and this is what the customer is going to see, the small business owner is going to see. I just want to point out a couple things first and foremost, and that is we have over here, if you go to the top of the page, we have our gear icon. I'll get to that in a moment, but I want to show the help. If we click on this, this is our help. You can simply type in any question that you have. Here are some top help links right here. I just click that again and it goes away. Over here, this is where we have our search or our find. This is where we could go search for transactions. If I click here, I have an advanced search and I have a little bit more criteria that I can use. To get back to my home page, I'm just going to click on my home over here. This is our recent transactions, this little clock button right here, and this is showing all of the recent transactions that have been made in this account. So maybe you had just entered in a sales receipt, you need to go back to that. You can just click your recent transactions and just click right on that and you're good to go. The next thing that I want to point out is my very favorite thing about the new interface. And this new interface, for those of you who have used QuickBooks Online before, you'll note that the interface is a little bit different. And the reason why it's a little bit different is because in August of 2013, Intuit released this new QuickBooks Online interface. It is a lot cleaner. I think it's much easier to navigate. I think it is a little bit, for those people moving from desktop to QBO, I think it makes the transition a little bit easier because we do have our left-hand navigation bar, which I'm going to get into the details of that in a little bit. But my very favorite thing is this button right here that is called the Quick Create, and I absolutely positively adore it. If I click on this, it just spins around. That spinning plus does absolutely nothing to make me work better or make me more efficient. I just like the way that it spins, and it makes me smile and it makes me a little bit happy. It's just a quick little delighter. that I absolutely love, and I wanted to point it out. But that button is called a Quick Create, and this gives you very quick, easy ways to access how to create very common transactions in QuickBooks Online, invoice, estimate, general expense, or a check. And I can click on more, and this gives me a lot more. I can go in here and pay bills. I can enter a purchase order. If I need to deal with my employees, I can go in and do that. Plus we have journal entries. I can create customer statements. So there's quite a few options that we have here. I can just bring that back there if I need to, or if I want, I can leave it. And then if I just click that X or the Quick Create button, it spins back up into a plus again. Absolutely love it. So on the home page, we have a few things. We have obviously our name. If I click on this, this is going to take me directly to a page where I can go set up. And when you go through and you first sign up for QuickBooks Online, it's going to ask you a little bit. It's going to walk you through this setup, and so it's going to ask you what your name is, and so we're just going to call this Larry's Company, and we can go in and we can browse for a logo if we want, and I'll choose my own picture here, and we can put in our phone number, and I'm going to save and next. And so now Larry's Company, and you can see we have our logo. Now that logo will show up on any of the transactions that we send. The other thing I want to point out while we're here on the home page is we have our left navigation bar here, our home page. If I go to customers, this you can see we have my customer dashboard, we have our vendor dashboard, we have employees, and I'm going to get into some detail about some of these in just a little bit, but I just want to show you what our options. We have transactions, we have our banking transactions, sales transactions. We can get to our registers, so here are all of our bank registers and our credit card registers, anything that has a register. All of our balance sheet accounts are going to show up here if we need to get to register. Here's where we have all of our reports. These are some recommended reports. We can filter this and say we want to look at all of our reports. Any custom reports that are here, we have those, and you can see we have a couple of them. These are unscheduled, but if we needed to, we could actually go in, edit these, and then set our email schedule. So this is where I can say I want it every month. I can say who it's coming to, and you can adjust the from the sender's email address. So if this is in there, you can have it say your own. Two, you can have it copied to yourself, what the subject was. And then this is the only place in QuickBooks Online that you can send a report from directly within the product as an Excel spreadsheet. You can download a report as an Excel spreadsheet and then attach it manually, but if you want to send it directly from QuickBooks Online as an Excel spreadsheet, you have to go in, add it to a group, and then set it in the email schedule. Our sales tax center over here on our left nav, this is where we're going to set up any of our sales tax that we have. And then our app center. And again, please, I really recommend that you check out the Expanding QuickBooks Online the ecosystem webinar that we're going to do too, because we get into a little bit more detail about some of the apps in the app center. I also want to point out the gear menu. If you click over here on the company name or this gear icon, you can see this is where we can get to a few more things. We have our company settings, our chart of accounts. This is a list. If we go to all lists, this is going to show us our chart of accounts, any recurring transactions that we have, our payment methods, our terms, our classes, our products and services, which are our items that we sell, our goods and services that we sell. Clicking back here, this is going to manage users. This is where we're going to add any users. Another thing I want to point out is the feedback. So as you and your clients or your small businesses that you work with are using QBO, please, please, please use the feedback and be very specific about the feedback that you're giving. Don't simply say, fix reporting. Be specific about the report that you want fixed and what you want fixed about it. You can go in here to do your bank reconciliation. So you can see there's a lot of different things. Any of your company settings, that's really important. So that's your gear icon. I can just click on that and make that go away. Going back to my home page, I want to point out this, we have here one of our money bars. These are called money bars, and from the home page you can see your clients, your small business owners will be able to see just by clicking on that box, it's going to take them to the customer dashboard, and it's going to bring them to this money bar here, which is now filtered. As I click on these boxes, it's going to filter the transactions to all of my open invoices. If I click just on the red here, it's going to show me just those invoices that are actually past due, that are overdue. If I click my estimates, again, it's going to filter to any open estimates that we have, and again, any unbilled activity. When you're in the customer dashboard, you can see I have my, we'll go to open invoices. So as I filter this to my open invoices, you can see over here in this right-hand column, it's going to give the next logical step in the process. So you can see this is an overdue invoice. So QBO is saying the next, maybe you might want to go ahead and send a reminder. However, there is a drop down here, and you can go in and receive the payment, print the statement, or create another invoice as well from here. And again, next logical step would be to receive a payment, but there are other options if you click that drop down. To add a new customer, you can simply click New Customer. If you drop this down, you're able to import customers from an Excel spreadsheet if you need to. We can print the list if we need to. We can export the list to an Excel, and we can go in here to our settings and we can adjust the columns. We can edit the columns a bit, and we can decide how many that we want, how many rows that we want to see when we're looking at this. Our batch actions, if I wanted, I can click here and it will select all of the invoices that are in this list. And I have some batch actions. I can send statements to the clients, I can print statements, or I can email these in a group. So those are some of my batch actions that we have. If I go back to my home page and I look at my expenses, if I click on here, maybe I go to, this is going to show me my payroll expenses, so it's going to bring me a report, and it's going to show me all of the accounts that are in my payroll expenses. So as I click, if I go back, all I did was I clicked right here on this little graph. I can do the same thing if I click Utilities. It will take me to a report in QuickBooks Online that's going to show you any of those, and my computer is not working very well right now. So these are going to show you all of your expenses. We have a profit and loss. Any of these graphs you can drill down and get into those. I do want to point out here the vendor dashboard, very similar to the customer dashboard. As you are clicking on the boxes, it will filter, and again you have the same batch actions. You can print, you can email, and again you can edit the columns, customize how many rows you want to see, and if you need to add a new vendor, you can either click New Vendor, or if you want, you can import vendors from an Excel spreadsheet. So very, very similar to the customer dashboard, and this is also where you're going to go to print and prepare your 1099s if you're using QuickBooks Online Plus. Couple other things I want to point out on the home page. If we go to the home page, here's all of our bank accounts that are connected, but if I scroll down, you can see our activity feed. And so these are things that need attention. It's showing you can take a tour of the home page if you want. So this is everything that's kind of been going on in the file, and as you scroll down, you can see what's happening in the data. You can sort this or filter it by invoices, payment, or expenses, or you can look at everything. The last thing that I want to talk about is some of our navigation tips. So if you have a home page here, one thing that I want to point out is multiple windows. A lot of people think that you can't have multiple windows open in QuickBooks Online like we can in the desktop, and the fact is you actually can. So if I want to open another window, I'm just going to right click on my tab in Google Chrome, and I'm going to choose Duplicate. As I choose Duplicate, it's going to open up another window with exactly the same thing. So what I like to do when I'm working in QBO is I will leave my home page open, and then I will also take this and I will do a pin tab. And so what this does is it just shrinks this, and it's going to keep my home page open, And so I can always go back to my home page if I need to. And I'll open another duplicate page. And from here, you know, maybe I want to go into some reports. Maybe I want to look at a profit and loss here. So I can have this report open, and maybe I'm going to open up another one. And so I've got that profit and loss. So I'm looking at the P&L here, but maybe in this other tab, I want to drill down and see what the income was for the fountains and garden lighting. So I can drill down and get into a detail or a transaction report and still keep this report open here. I really like this because it allows you to do a lot of things. You can have one report open while you're doing other things, or maybe I need to write a check. You can also really utilize multiple monitors a little bit better with QuickBooks Online. So what I did there is I just dragged one of my tabs off my original window and just pulled it over here. So if I want, I can put it right back, I can take it off, I can resize these windows so that I can look at both of the windows at the same time. So, you know, maybe I have here two windows open. This is one screen, but if I were using multiple monitors, I could actually pull one of these windows over and put it on a different monitor. And so I can really use and really utilize my multiple monitors when I'm using QuickBooks Online. So I'm just going to drag this back over and stick it here and then maximize this so I have it all in one window. So that's really a way for you to use multiple windows in QuickBooks Online and make sure, and you have this little pin tab here. It always stays over on the left and it just gives you a little bit more real estate, so you can always have your home page here if you need to do anything else. If you have a client who has multiple companies, maybe I have a client who has 2 or 3 different bowling alleys in Texas, and each one has its own EIN, so each one has its own QuickBooks Online subscription. So a lot of times she'll be in more than one company at a time, or it's possible that maybe you are working with one client, you know, you're working with one small business and you have another one call that needs some help. You can actually open up their file as well, but we need to use what are called Chrome users. And so to do a Chrome user, what you're going to do is over here, you can see I have these 3 little lines here, and this says you can customize and control Google Chrome. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I'm going to go down to my settings. And you can see I have a couple different Chrome users here. So I can add a new user if I want, and I'm going to pick, let's see, we'll do little clouds, and I'm going to say new user, and I'm going to go ahead and create. So you can see what happens is another window has opened up with that little icon. So you'll see the difference here. I have my original QBO open here. I have my new Chrome user. So what I can do, if I want, I can go to QBO again. I can sign in. So I have logged in again, and I can actually just go in and choose a new company. And so I'm logged in with the same username here as well as here, and all I've had to do to make that happen is set up different Chrome users. And that's pretty much it for our demo. We have other webinars for you. We have getting started and that's how to set up. We want to talk to you guys also about the Cloud Pro Advisor program, how to use QuickBooks Online Accountant to help support the small businesses, as well as, like I mentioned, that expanding QBO course as well. So by completing this course, I just want to know that you can define some of the benefits that are realized by using QuickBooks Online. You can navigate rather efficiently within QuickBooks Online, identify some of those differences between QuickBooks Desktop as well as QuickBooks Online, and really understand and help determine whether or not the small business is going to be a great fit for QuickBooks Online as well. So I really want to talk to you about just the benefits of working online and using QuickBooks Online are those workflow time savings, that anytime, anywhere access, as well as easy collaboration with small businesses, with the SBDC counselors, with the accounting professionals, with clients, with customers, with employees. You have that easy collaboration as well as that secure sharing, and it really does help make us, I think, work better, faster, smarter. So I really want to thank you for participating. Some of our next steps are checking out the QuickBooks Online test drive that's available. The link is up here, as well as checking out the other QuickBooks Online on-demand training that we have available for the ASBDC. Thank you.